Hello. Okay, so what are we doing here? Yes, if you're tuning in, just welcome to my channel. I'm actually doing it on my own personal account today because I couldn't go live on the other account, setting it up. So it's a little different today. So I'm gonna preview the Bucks and Suns NBA Finals, which is gonna be today. If you're watching the next day, it's gonna be a preview for the rest of the finals. So as you already know, these two teams, who thought, like the matchup that we all expected, right? From the outset, uh, and out of all these star athletes or quality in the NBA, and we finally have a freaking Zay Crowder as the only guy in the NBA Finals who has previous NBA Finals experience. As crazy as that sounds, um, I am looking forward to it. I'm pretty sure y'all are, and that's why you all tune in here. So I'll go through everything about both Suns and Bucks, the numbers related to both those teams, and how the matchups gonna likely be. Uh, we're here 1:19 Central Time right now. We're just 41 minutes away from the UEFA Euro Championship semifinal lockdown or showdown between Spain and Italy, rematch of the 2012 final and 2016. I think they met in group stage or somewhere. It was the Italians who won, but still, the Italians are vindictive and they want to take that revenge from 2020, 2012 humbling for nothing. But back to this series, a tremendous series on offer, right? And before we get into all the expected showdown, key battles, and all, regular season, East versus West, usually there would be, I think, yeah, there was two games and both were won by Suns. But it's a different situation and different kind of pressure, and you can't really take that into account. But Suns are fully loaded, as you can see. So starting with the Suns, it's been forever, right? And they have never won the championship. Even 1993, they made the finals. You guys probably know Charles Barkley was the MVP back then. He's with the TNT team right now. As fun as he seems. He was pretty serious back in the days, and you know who he lost to, the great Michael Jordan, 1993. And I think uh, Charles Barkley is eagerly awaiting for Phoenix Suns to win their first ever championship. It'll be a feel good story as well. So meanwhile, for the Bucks, they're trying to win their second ever, and it will be their first in 47 years. Uh, you know, I don't know if you guys have watched that documentary about Lou Alcindor, or commonly known as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who changed his name and whatnot. It's been 47 years since he won the championship for the Bucks, and then he won a few later with the Lakers side, and whatnot. But first, let's begin with the Phoenix Suns. Alvi, they're hosting today's contest, and they have home court advantage because of their better overall record in the regular season. The Suns, their offensive record or their rating is their 10th, 113, and their defense. Defensive rating is 106, which is second. They're defensively sound team. It doesn't look like it, but at the heart of it is DeAndre Ayton, which we'll definitely get into. So overall, net rating of second. They have the Phoenix Suns, and interestingly enough, guys, I was in Phoenix. I think a week and a half ago, and the atmosphere is pretty great out there. Not just the weather, but fact that all the Suns fans, like the Valley, is very excited for this, and then if they can win the first ring, that'll be the cherry on the top. So they were fifth in playoff defense so far. Looks kind of weird, but there have been situations, there have been high scoring games, but that kind of makes sense. As I've already discussed, this will, I think, be their third time after 1975 and 93 winning their, getting into the finals. Hope it'll be third time lucky for them and their fans. It's very incredible, guys, how you can rebuild your team. 3 years ago, they had the worst record in the NBA, right? 3 years ago, and then last year in the bubble, they made, I think, their run was 8-0 or something, but they couldn't make the playoffs just because of their pretty horrible slowdown before the pandemic you know just took place. um you know the 2 years before the pandemic, they had a combined win of 40 games. Sheesh, that's that's incredible, isn't it? 40 wins in 2 seasons. I mean, they tanked, but come on, man. You're an NBA side. You gotta win at least. I mean, I don't know, 25 games a season at least on average. Another fascinating fact here, guys. You know, Eric Bledsoe, the point guard who got traded from the Suns to Bucks. Now he was shipped from Bucks. And the last two teams to trade Eric Bledsoe are in the finals. So the key to next year's championship is just trade for Eric Bledsoe and then trade him away. How about that, right? So let's look. Like I have a magnifying glass, I guess. So let me look at the Suns side, um, which looks pretty healthy on paper. You can't say anything against them just because they're healthier compared to other teams. You know, there have been people out there dismissing the fact that, hey, this championship has an asterisk. It's not a good championship to win. Blah blah blah. 15 years down the line, who cares? You know, I was too young, but I think 2012 championship, I wasn't too young, but I was certainly younger than I am right now. And I think the championships won by LeBron. It was a shortened season, and all the teams were crap. So who remembers it now? No one, right? So 10 years, 15 years down the line, no one remembers. And it's not like bubble last year. It's much better, with the home court advantage and coming back into the play and all that. You know, don't criticize the teams because they're healthy. They have, give credit to the personal trainers, to the physios. They got incredible work ethic, right? I heard Lakers are about to, or they have fired their athletic trainers. I mean, really? Are you gonna do that? Of course you are. I mean, the thing that really bothers me is you're not giving enough credit to the supporting staff, right? you know Players are human. They go through a lot of injuries, a lot of knocks and all that. And the amount of hours these people gonna put. I mean, they don't get paid like this, millions of athletes, do they? No. But they need to get the credit, and I think they are in the present time, and I'm all for it, right? So back into the actual players, or the stars. Let's look at these three stars. You already know about Chris Paul and Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. I mean, look at DeAndre Ayton. Everyone's talking about Luka Doncic during the season, and then Trey Young, Ice Trey. And how about Ayton? Give him some love. He's been brilliant, not only for rebounding, but he's got that soft touch. I mean, centers really have that. I myself play as a center, and I find it hard, to get those fine touches, those moves, and all that. Of course, not comparing myself to him, but you know, DeAndre Ayton under the mentorship of Chris Paul has really come of age. And the reason I mentioned Luca and Ice Trey is because both of them, or all three of them, were drafted in the same draft class. And what a draft class it was, man! And Phoenix proved everyone right, or their decision right, to pick DeAndre Ayton as the number one overall. And if they win the ring, all for it, right? So Chris Paul, man, last year he didn't want to be in Oklahoma, gets traded to Oklahoma from Houston, almost wins a ring in Houston, that hamstring injury and the disappointment, blowing the series, and Clippers with that big three they had, with Black Griffin and DeAndre Jordan and all the other stars. Very unfortunate for Chris Paul, but finally, against all odds, he's back in the finals, or say first time he's in the finals, and finally about to win a ring, and it kind of feels like a feel good uh, story for him. Although haven't always been a big fan of his, because of his fluffing and whatnot. But in his 16th year, after 11 times being an All Star, he's finally there. Um, and from the starters to a little bit of the backups, Cameron Payne, he has been really immense sometimes in Chris Paul's absence as well. And he was Russell Westbrook's backup at some point, and now he's about to win a ring. World comes at you really fast. Another feel good story is Torrey Craig. Uh, he will win a ring even if Bucks win, because he was traded to Suns during the middle of the season. So I'm not trying to say he won't give his maximum effort. Of course, he want to be the part of the celebrations. Of course, he wants Suns to win, but he'll get a ring no matter what. What a final to be, no pressure. And Suns, this is their year, despite Chris Paul missing a few of his games against Lakers, and then being in the COVID protocol. Remember, it feels like a million weeks ago that he injured his shoulder against the Lakers. Man, I was thinking, come on, not again. Lakers getting another easy road into the second round. Uh, but I don't know how. Back to my point. More credit to the physio and maybe some painkillers, some steroids. I don't know, Toradol and all that. And he's healthy, and all of a sudden he goes back to COVID protocol and misses a first couple of games against the Clips. But fortunately, this time he got lucky in a way. There was no Kawhi to break his to continue his struggles, right? And then Booker breaks his nose, but it's not the worst of injuries compared to like ankle or even Giannis's knee. But anyways, Phoenix, they have come a long way, and then they actually fully deserve their place in the finals. I mean, they beat the defending champions, and then they probably beat the best team in the West, Lakers, Clippers in the conference finals. So they thoroughly deserve to be here, and they have, like I said before, they have home advantage, and it'll definitely come into play with those loud supporters. But we talk about home court advantage, but last two game sevens we've seen have been won by away teams, right? In Brooklyn, um, they didn't win the game. I think they lost against Giannis and yeah, the Bucks, right? And similar thing happened with Utah, right? They lost the game seven at home. Incredible. You think of the home advantage, and it doesn't work sometimes. Probably most of the times this year. I don't know. Weird things have happened. But one thing Phoenix has is they're fully rested, and some people, in the basketball field, will say you might have a better recovery period more than Bucks, but sometimes it goes against you because you break the rhythm of playing and the form you're in. So I don't know. It's very tricky. So one thing that Bucks don't have is that same recovery time, and I think they're playing after 3 days of playing that conference finals, a pretty tough conference finals against Atlanta, and could have been tougher had Trey Young not um, been injured or stepped on the ref's foot. It's a freak incident. And let me go into the injuries part before I get into Bucks. The asterisk thing again, people criticizing these two teams, or not just these two teams, just making this an asterisk thing just because players are injured, blah blah blah. I mean, come on. Giannis's knee injury is a freak. I mean, wouldn't have happened if not being landed with a Clint Capela, just a monster guy himself. Trey Young stepping on the ref, and even Kyrie Irving's injury was like he stepped on Giannis's foot. It's not like it happened over the course of time because of playing too much, blah blah blah. Okay, maybe Kawhi Leonard, maybe, but well, I'm a big proponent of reducing the number of regular season games, but I don't think it came into factor this time around though. So let's get into the Bucks. I mean, the offensive rating is 11th, was 11th in the regular season, but the defensive rating, they're the best defensive side, of 105, and they're fourth in net. So I'm expecting this to be a defensively sound game. Both teams will probably be a little cautious and not, drain a lot of threes, because both teams have really good perimeter defenders as well. And the one I'm really looking forward to is the matchup between Chris Paul and Drew Holiday, which I'll come into eventually. So talking about these two teams, they are the second most efficient teams. They're the Bucks' main concern is their star man Giannis. Of course, we've already told you, and he's doubtful for the first game. And I personally feel he won't play this game. And of course, even if he's 50%, he needs to play this game, because half fit Giannis is much better than guys like Bobby Portis, who show up in 1 or 2 games. But in a 7 game series, can you really rely on guys like Portis? Not really, right? And Giannis, who's been spectacular in the postseason, and outside of his free throws struggles, and um, he's really been a great playoff star, and not just a regular season star. Um, and the reason I said he shouldn't really play this game is, first game, you're playing away from home. I think uh, it's NBA, like you could afford to go 1-0 down. You're playing away from home. I think the second game is really key. Second, and probably the third game. If they're down 2-0, they'll be in trouble, and the third and the fourth game become really vital. But first game, I don't think is it's as important as what people say. Hey, first game 1-0 down. Oh, so the Suns are going to win. No, I mean, it's a 7 game series, home court advantage, you know, and Bucks just after a 3-day turnover, playing less rested than the Suns, right? So, anyways, Giannis, man, I'm so glad he didn't break or tear his ligaments or anything. It was just a hyperextension. You can give him all painkillers and all that. I'm pretty sure he won't be 100%. Just like what you saw with Trey. Trey was visibly struggling. He couldn't help the team at all. But hopefully, Giannis can and make this a really competitive game, because I think outside of Giannis, if any Giannis doesn't play, it's Phoenix ball. I mean, it's pretty easy, as easy as it sounds. And the only player that seemed to go from, if 0 is the worst performance and 10 is the best performance, from 0 to 10 pretty quickly, is Chris Milton. He's either hot or cold. There's no in between. He's one day he's Michael Jordan, and the other day he's me. Yeah. And but kudos to him, man. He has taken the mantle, and he's proven people wrong in so many ways, because people are criticizing Chris Middleton as just this guy who took max contract and doesn't perform at all. Not a playoff guy. Last 2 seasons, Bucks struggling with their playoff runs. Nope. This year, been brilliant. He's had difficult days, but he's just like Clay Thompson in a way, um, stepping up whenever Steph Curry doesn't perform, or is injured, or like something along the lines. So I kind of find that resemblance of Clay Thompson in Chris Middleton. Uh, Another player that comes to mind that has had a decent career, but not really taking that next level, is Drew Holiday, of course. And he's known to be a great defender, right? And he has shown in the last series as well, defending Trey Young pretty well. And but this time he has a bigger and a better challenge with Chris Paul, the veteran. He has every trick in the book to get the better of Drew Holiday, so I'm expecting this to be a thrilling contest. And talking about defensive prowess, Brook Lopez has certainly surprised me. He developed his 3 points shooting midway in his career, and I think Ben Simmons could get a lot of advice from Brook Lopez, I believe. Um, Funny thing about Ben Simmons is he was spotted at the Wimbledon yesterday, and everyone in the NBA media coming out, hey, Ben Simmons spotted in the Wimbledon rather than fixing his shot or working in the gym, and they were criticizing him. Not just only that he decided not to go to the Olympics with Australia, and they were criticizing his alliance, and then all that. Like, calm down, people. I mean, the season like a couple of weeks ago they got knocked out, not even probably 10, 15 days back, and let him breathe, let him get a fresh air of oxygen, for a few weeks. Take you know take as it is, and enjoy some tennis, some different kind of sport, different country, get re-energized, recharge your batteries, and put the work in the gym, right? You can't just go back to the gym and just like throw 1,000 shots. You got to recover sometimes. They're humans after all, right? I mean, and also some personal thing, just let him be, for a couple of weeks, let him enjoy. That's all I want to say. I mean, anyways, back to someone who's, I would say, more effective than Ben Simmons, but way lesser numbers. You probably figured PJ Tucker. It's been a really good addition to the side, and he's only out there for the defensive um, exploits for the Bucks. And funnily enough, he played 5 seasons with the Suns, and he had really good numbers, and then he went to Houston. Funny thing with the PJ Tucker is he looks really small. I think 6'5", and then he plays center all the time, like small ball center, and he gets the rebounds as well. Like, I'm like, I think he looks like one of the dirtiest players in the game, but you can't hit him, right? I mean, he's gotten the better of. I mean, he usually gets under the skins of opposition, and rightly so. You need those kind of players. I mean, those kind of like, you know, Troy Deeney calls it. You got to have some cojones, right? Yep. So it'll definitely be a good contest. I think, although I think we've already had the finals. Bucks versus Nets was probably my NBA finals. Um, but this time around, the defense will be at the forefront. We have already seen the defensive ratings, and like you've seen at soccer games or even at boxing games. First a couple of rounds will be like, being cautious, looking at each other teams, and trying to look at their weaknesses. This is very important. Finding out opposition's weaknesses. Everyone can see the flashes of brilliance and positive side, the attacking and all that, but you got to exploit the weaknesses. So I think this is where the finals will be won and lost. I would say low scoring encounters, just because both teams are really good defensively, and aforementioned, like previously mentioned facts. Um, and I have a big if here. If Yanis doesn't play, then I don't think Bucks have any chance of winning. They'll probably win a couple of games, but it'll be done in six, I guess. Um, I really want to see Giannis win a ring, so hopefully he can win. But I want to see a tight series. So let's hope we go to Game 7, right? Um, I just want to see the repeat of 2016 finals. I mean, it was just amazing. The Warriors, Cavs. I remember going to, I think, oh, where did I go? Going down the memory lane. Um, Boomer Jacks or somewhere. We went, was the games afternoon. I think it was Sunday evening. Probably around 5 or 6 p.m. What a game, man! The Kyrie Irving team. If we could see something similar, I would be so happy. And at this point, it just looks like a survival of the fittest, with all the players injured and taking knocks and all that. But what a feel good story we'll have in this time around. And it's mid July as well, almost mid July when we have a championship one, and usually it's mid June when the champions are coronated. But this time it's a different story. So we're almost towards the end of ours. So today, you can listen this later in the podcast as well. Just tune into podcast, Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you get your prod from. So we got an intense final coming up. I've already said who the favorites are, and what's probably going to happen. Not saying it'll definitely going to happen, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. And you know, there's so many storylines. The coach Budenholzer for the Bucks, he grew up as a Suns fan, and I think he won 4 championships as an assistant coach for San Antonio Spurs. So he has that experience, but he was basically a Kevin Durant 3-pointer buzzer beater away from getting axed. That was incoming, but if he wins this, then I don't know. It's something strange. As for Monty Williams, uh, his San Antonio connection again. I think he was a coaching intern for Spurs when Budenholzer was the assistant coach. I think back in 2004 or five. So plenty of storylines around there. Regarding the coaching as well. So it'll be very fascinating to see who draws the first blood. So I've already told you guys, first game doesn't always mean you win the series, although the media will portray you that. But um, let's have fun out there. We're about to start the Euros. Let me look at the starting lineups, and let's go through the tactics. Let's see. Euro. Oof. It's gonna be. I don't know. I'm really excited for this game. Okay, so the Italians. Uh, so they will go with Barella, Jorginho, and Verratti in the middle. So no Locatelli. So Emerson comes in for the injured Spinazzola, who's probably been the player of the tournament so far. So I think Spain has to exploit that left hand side. So I think Ferran Torres with his pace, he plays on. Oh, interesting lineup today from Spain. He goes with Dani Olmo and Orazabal. Yeah, and I don't know, as good as the Italians are, I feel like the Spaniards are gonna sneak a win here today for some reason. Oh yeah, I really like Enrique's setup here. He's trying to exploit Spain's weaknesses, and that's on the Italians' weakness, and that's pace because Bonucci, Chiellini, Emerson lack a lot of pace, and I think Olmo, Ferran Torres, and Oyarzabal. Very interesting. It could go either north or south for Spain. And final thoughts before I go. With Spain, what we've seen so far in the tournament is you don't really know what you're getting from them, right? With Italians, you get a high intensity, high pressure, and you'll create a lot of chances. But with Spain, I don't know. They've either been really good or really bad. So I don't know. Just hope really good Spaniards show up today and get the job done. I don't know. It's going to be a thrilling contest, and everyone thinks the winner of this will play England, but the Danes might have some other opinions. And Spain look like one of the weakest backlines, and Italians have to exploit. And I think uh, Spain will have a lot of the ball as they usually do, but it's how they do with the ball. And I think Italians will create more chances, but how Spain, came here so far in the tournament was like, they rode their luck as well at times. So, and that's a hallmark of a championship side as well. So you never know. But they're playing with basically a free, what do you call, free hit, right? Nobody expected Spain to come this far or like win the championship, because the previous generations they overperformed, or hit the heights and put a lot of stress on these teams. And that's the reason why Enrique bought a fairly young side, right? So to develop them for the next year's World Cup and beyond as well. So as for Italy, they missed out on 2018 World Cup. So it was a blessing in disguise for them. Um, so they performed really well, best team of the tournament so far, and I actually picked Belgium to win. Disappointing last time around, but let's see. Well, let's hope we'll have a spectacular game, and I'll be back with more reactions, and I'll be previewing the England Denmark game a little later. Till then, thank you for listening. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.